Westfield Memorial Hospital provides high-quality health care to residents of Western New York, offering patients the most sophisticated medical advancements while keeping the ease and familiarity of a community hospital. Support for Chautauqua Sunrise has been provided by WRFA 107.9 FM, Jamestown's public radio station, streaming online 24/7 at WRFALP.com. Low power to the people. Chautauqua Sunrise is made possible by a grant from Fredonia Place, a continuing care retirement community providing dignity in a modern luxury environment. Meter's Restaurant, a family tradition for over 50 years in downtown Ripley, is a proud supporter of Chautauqua Sunrise. Meter's provides all-day dining, banquet services, and custom catering, specializing in pie. Funding for Chautauqua Sunrise is provided in part by the Chautauqua County Industrial Development Agency, with offices in Jamestown, Dunkirk, and Westfield, helping businesses to prosper throughout Chautauqua County. From supporting people with disabilities to enjoy great lives, to providing health care services that are available to anyone, the Resource Center has been improving our county for more than 60 years. Learn more about how the Resource Center makes a positive difference in people's lives. From the Access Chautauqua Studios in Mayville, it's Chautauqua Sunrise. Chautauqua Sunrise is hosted by Doc Hamels and supported by the award-winning volunteers at Access Chautauqua. We are here to share local news, colorful interviews, and events of interest to everyone. Chautauqua Sunrise is broadcast live Saturday mornings each week from 9 to 10 a.m. Send events via email or call us live. Check us out on YouTube and Facebook. And now, from the Access Chautauqua Studios, it's Chautauqua Sunrise.
Well, good Saturday morning to all of you, or a good Saturday afternoon, or Tuesday afternoon, or it could be Saturday afternoon, it could be whatever time of day it is. Hi, because we stream, we're on the radio later in the week, and so thanks for joining us no matter what. Well, hope you're all doing well. The weather has been unusually nice at times, and it's been unusually crazy at times. Boy, those rainstorms we had, what the heck was that all about? Justin, did you get those thunder boomers and that out your way?
Yes.
It shook our house. We live on the escarpment in Ripley, and it's like someone just like getting a battering ram and just hitting the house with that cold front. Just hits hard. Woo! And that was after all the water spouts and everything we had the week before. So, oh well, crazy weather. Hey, this Wednesday, first day of fall. I know you're excited out there. Where did the summer go? Wowzer. Where did last year go? It seems like time is just zooming by lately. First day of fall, Wednesday. Full foliage, grape harvest, pumpkin pie, applesauce. What do you think, Justin?
Apple cider.
Apple cider. Okay, yeah.
With pumpkin spice.
Ooh. We got a lot of good things going on here in Chautauqua County, and we've talked about every season, and the fall is no different. I mean, just all kinds of festivals and music and museums and great places to hike, fishing, still kayaking out there. They put in some nice kayak entrances to the various lakes and things like that. Slips, I guess they call them. So anyways, glad you could join us nonetheless. Few things I want to share with you is, first of all, if you or your organization wants to get information on the show, as we'll be chatting here shortly, you can send it to chautauquasunrise@gmail.com. You can call us right now if you want at 753-5225 and give the information to the operator who's waiting out the other end. It's probably Jeff today. He's going to be doing triple duty, but we'll get you on the air. And don't be shy. It's okay. It's real. We're friendly here. You can go to our Facebook page. You can go to our You can find us on YouTube as far as information goes if you forget what numbers to call, but there's information right there to get right a hold of us. We are here till 10 o'clock today, so do give us a call if you want. If you have a fundraiser, or you have a question for my guest, or a comment or something you want to ask me, whatever, give us a call. Love to hear from you. Coming up today, a very special event in my hometown of Ripley. The Ripley Public Library is having a reopening, a grand reopening. I'm going to tell you, I was there just the other day, and I was setting up a public address system, we call it a PA, and it'll take your breath away. That's all I can tell you. If you had seen the library a year ago, it was a nice library, but it was pretty well tired inside. It's housed in a former Baptist church that was built in 1893, and if you go in there now, you're going to see a sleek, modern, but yet cozy, warm, come on in feel to it. They did a great job in designing it. Well, anyways, there's an open house for all of you to go and visit, get some refreshments. They're going to have some live music, I believe, and this is all going to take place today from 4 to 7. The library is right down on Main Street in Goodrich, right in the corner there, and cornered from the Hamilton Mansion, if that means anything to you. And you don't have to be from Ripley. You can go check it out. I mean, I know a lot of people go to various libraries in other towns and enjoy everything they have to offer. Anyways, today, 4 to 7, please check it out. I'm really proud of that. I'm on the board of directors there. They did a super job. Okay, let's see what else we got here. I have a few announcements I want to share with you, and let's see what we got here. Let's see how they get me tongue-tied this week. Vaccination clinics. The health department of Chautauqua County is going to let you know some things here. All right, the clinics will be held in October for Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, and all these shots will be available at the clinics that I will tell you here in a moment. Vaccines will be provided at no cost to participants. Participants must bring proper identification to the clinic. Wear a mask. The Chautauqua County Health Department kindly requests that people attending drive-through clinics do not bring pets or other animals in the vehicle with them to drive through clinics. That's the first time I've heard that request. There must be some issues with that. All right, so where is this one? Location, Chautauqua Lake Central School bus garage. All right, not the school, but at the bus garage, 100 North Erie Street in Mayville. It's going to be held, September 21, 28, October 5, 12, 19, and 26. So let me read those again. September 21, 28, October 5, 12, 19, 26. And that's, running from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. It's a drive-through registration format, no appointment needed, but pre-registration is available. Then we have SUNY Fredonia Steel Hall, 280 Central Avenue, New York, Fredonia, New York. Wednesday, September 15, 12:30 to 4:30. That one is already done. Oh. Well, they had a nice clinic there anyways. Additional clinics will be added to the Chautauqua County Health Department website as they are planned. Please monitor the webpage for the most up-to-date information and to pre-register for clinic events. You go to chq.gov, all one word, so chautauquagov.com, public health /COVID-19 vaccination clinics. You just keep kind of digging your way through there. First, second, and third doses will be provided to any eligible persons at the time of the clinic. Pfizer is available to anyone ages 12 and up. Moderna is available to anyone ages 18 and up. Johnson & Johnson is available to anyone 18 and up. So for the kiddos, Pfizer is available. At this time, third dose boosters may be given to certain, I have to practice saying these words before it comes out of my mouth. Those with compromised immune systems. Currently, CDC is recommending that moderately to severely those with compromising immune systems, I can't say the word, people receive an additional dose. People should talk to their health care provider about their medical condition and whether getting an additional dose is appropriate for them. Vaccine is also available at pharmacies throughout the county, as well as several medical providers. Okay, so here's the deal, guys. I'm on the wrong page. I just realized that, Jeff. Sorry about that. Our county is lagging on the state average from what I just read the other day. Shots are free. They're available. It's up to you. Do the right thing. My opinion. All right, let's go to the first page where I should have started to begin with. Let's go to, this is something we're going to be talking about today. Hope Outreach Project. There's a slide. Just a reminder of the community event that continues today, September 18th, from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. The Chautauqua Center, 107 Institute Street. There's the flyer right there. But it's today. The goal of the Hope Outreach. Wait a minute. Is it today? Is today the 18th or 19th? 18th. This is the third time I've done that. I've got the wrong date in my brain. The goal of the Hope Outreach Projects is to address the needs physically, emotionally, and spiritually of our community. There will be healthcare providers on site, along with some delicious chicken dinners and hot dogs at no charge. First come, first serve. Again, today from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Chautauqua Center at 107 Institute Street. All right, and there will be another one next week on the 25th. Okay, that's it, down in Brooklyn Square. All right, all right. Movies. Let's see here. Make sure these all are coming up. A movie called Respect, Wednesday the 22nd, 7 o'clock, follows the rise of Aretha Franklin's career from a young child singing in her father's church choir to her international superstardom. The film tells the remarkable true story of the music icon's journey to find her voice and become the queen of soul. Respect stars Jennifer Hudson. It is rated PG-13 and it's 145 minutes long. I remember Jennifer Hudson when she was just beginning out in her career. She's really come a long way. And to do Aretha Franklin, wow, kudos. Okay, let's see. Then we have the musical Annette, which will be shown the 25th at 8 p.m. Okay, here we go. Henry is a stand-up comedian with a fierce sense of humor who falls in love with Anne, a world-renowned opera singer. Strange combination. Henry and Anne form a passionate and glamorous couple in the spotlight. The birth of their first child, Annette, a mysterious little girl with an exceptional destiny, will turn their lives upside down. I should do radio. The film features music from the screenwriters Ron and Russell Mael. Okay, Annette is rated R and 139 minutes long. And then upcoming movies include The Lost Leonardo on September 29 and the Rocky Horror Picture Show on October 29th. That's almost like a standard at Halloween. Tickets to movies at the Reg are $7 with an additional $1 theater restoration fee. Keep the place up. If you say that 3 times, it'll show up. He's saying Beetlejuice over in the corner there. There may be I don't need them here. They may be purchased 12 to 5 p.m. Monday and Friday and 12 to 8 p.m. Wednesday. For more information, 484-7070. Okay? You can go online and check it out. And remember, the Reg Lene Center for the Arts is located at 116 East 3rd Street in Jamestown. Whew. Okay, positive parenting. All right, I don't know, we don't have a flyer on this, but a brief targeted intervention in a one-to-one format that assists parents to develop parenting plans to manage behavioral issues such as tantrums, fighting, going shopping. I can't imagine why any of those would be an issue. And skill development issues such as eating independently, toilet training, staying in bed at night. One-on-one tailored parenting sessions, total of 20 to 40-minute sessions. These are all available through Positive Parenting Program with Prevention Works. Okay, so the program includes primary care, quality time, descriptive praise, interesting activities, incidental teaching, behavioral charts. I used to do a lot of those. Direct discussion, logical consequences, start and stop routines. Sessions are available via Zoom, and give Amy Beto a call at 366-4623, extension 227. Again, 366-4623, extension 227. Let's see. Also, and we have a slide on this one, 17, Simple Strategies for Teaching Children Behavior, a community workshop is going to be held September 30th at 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. via Zoom. Do you want to reduce conflict, have better relationships, help your children manage their own behaviors? You need PAX tools. If you need assistance with registration, please call, again, Amy Beto at 366-4623. All right, and that's all brought to you by Prevention Works in Jamestown. And then I have 2 more slides. I think I got this right. Hang on a second. Yep, I kind of went out of order. So let's pop up those 19 and 20, Jeff, one at a time. The Westfield, Barcelona Chamber of Commerce sent me this information. And this is an open house for some folks that are near and dear to my heart. This is involved with the Lakeshore Center for the Arts. And they're going to have an open house, and as it says, exciting things have been happening. Learn about upcoming productions. Enjoy the Lorna B. Penny Suite. I don't know anything about that one. Explore their new innovation studio, which we're going to bring our crew down and learn and work on filming and probably photoshopping and what's it called? Photo clipping, all that good stuff. And it's going to be held Saturday, October 2nd from 2 to 4 p.m. They're held at 49 South Portage Street in Westfield, and it's part of the big church there right across from the library on the backside. They keep corralling me into projects, but they're a great group of people, and they do a lot of great creative things in our area. Okay, then we have another one from them, from the Westfield area. Okay, Westfield Cemetery Tours. All right, this should be fun. Friday, September 24 and 25 from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Okay, let's see, it's $20 per, hang on a second, $20 per person for a horse-drawn carriage, $15 per person, 13 years of age and up for walking tour, $5 per person, $12 and under for walking tour, includes complimentary refreshment and a lantern. All right, so here's the deal. You go to, does that say what I think it says? GiveButter.com, Westfield 2021. All right, they're going to be doing these fun little walks to the cemetery and telling you stories about people that have come and gone. And I won't be around that day, but they try to talk me into be a dead guy, imagine that. And I was supposed to narrate some storyline. Sorry, guys, I'm not going to do that one. They, like I said, they've got me into musicals and into theater and into all kinds of things. I was a dead guy last year in another production. I was the mayor of Westfield, and I had to be a ghost. Anyways, we're going to take a little break, and we'll be right back. Stay tuned. This one's for you.
At Social Security, we are always thinking of ways to save you time and make things easier. That's why we created My Social Security. A My Social Security account allows you to access your earnings history and benefits information, request a replacement Social Security card, get a proof of income letter, estimate and apply for benefits, and more. Save time. Go online. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security. Securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
And we're back just like that. All right, folks, we have 2 guests today, and we're going to be talking about the upcoming October being Domestic Violence Awareness Month and a whole lot more. And I want to welcome back to the show Diana Butcher, who's the program director of the Salvation Army's ANEW Center. Got that right?
Yep. got that right.
And Linda Cecchetti.
Very good.
I practiced that before the show.
Very good.
Cecchetti. And you're an educator?
I am the prevention ed team leader. So I do some education in schools. I do outreach programs. I go to churches. We do tabling events. We speak about the ANEW Center. We speak about whatever. Well, we have a new curriculum called Think First, Stay Safe, which instead of doing stranger danger, we all grew up with that. This is more about personal safety, keeping the kids safe, and they learned that about the trusted adults that they can go to. It doesn't necessarily have to be somebody in their family, but it could be somebody in the community. So I go into elementary schools with that. I also go to colleges and talk about being an ally.
Okay.
So very busy.
We're gonna dig big. We'll come back to that in a bit.
Okay.
So, do you two like work together?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and you're part of the Salvation Army and New Center.
Yes.
All right. So I got that part. I failed to ask you that before we started. So Diana, you've been on the show a couple, 3 times now, I think, right?
Yes.
And so you've been, if I recall, with the Salvation Army quite a long time.
Yes, very long time, 24 years.
24. I was going to say around 25 years. And how did you get involved with this program? I mean, is it something like you woke up one day and said, I'm gonna work for the Salvation Army and get into this really? I mean, this is a tough area. This isn't for the weak of heart, dealing with domestic and sexual abuse and domestic violence and all that stuff.
This is true. So no, I knew that I wanted to get into a field of helping people. And when I went to college, I had that focus. And originally, actually, I worked in substance abuse. And then I went into a field of working with youth offenders. And it just so happened that I had a coworker who had applied for a position with the Salvation Army and New Center, had interviewed and decided that wasn't for her, and came back to me and said, look, I interviewed for this job and it might be something you might be really interested in. So gave me the information, I followed up with it, I interviewed, the rest is history. I've been there ever since. But originally I started out as the case manager for the shelter, actually. Okay. And then over the years, the position, I've moved around and changed in my position, but that's how it happened. It was just kind of a fluke of a thing, I guess.
Right.
And it was something that I have always been interested in, but I actually didn't even know about the program until I interviewed for it.
Right, and we're doing our utmost to make sure other people know about it here. You know, the various jobs you had all connect. I mean, they're not staying alone. I can easily see how that could be a cycle, all the things you just mentioned.
Definitely.
So,
yeah.
And you're from this area originally?
No, I'm not. I'm an import or a tourist or whatever you might.
Transplant.
A transplant, right? Family of origin is originally from Chautauqua County, but I came a little bit later on and settled down. And actually, like I said, I worked with substance abuse originally at Tri-County Memorial, which doesn't exist, unfortunately, anymore, the cute little hospital that it was. And did find that many of our folks who came in for rehab disclosed a history of domestic violence and or child abuse, and for many of the women disclosed a history of domestic violence and often survivors of sexual assault. So you're right, it all intertwines,
right.
And that was a common theme and something that we had to address when people were working through
right.
their struggles with addiction too.
Lots of layers to all that. Linda, where do you hail from?
I am a tourist also, but I actually I live in Kane, Pennsylvania, and I travel up to Jamestown every day.
I should know where Kane is. Where is it near?
I go through Warren and keep going. It's between Warren and Bradford.
Oh, so it's all right. I know the general area.
Yeah.
I mean, I know the general area. Okay. And how'd you get involved in what you do?
Well, I was a teacher for many years.
Oh,
and then
what'd you teach?
I taught preschool for 14 years. I had 30.
Preschool and middle school kind of go together.
Yes, they do. They're just bigger kids. I had 30 kids when I decided that it was time to make a change, and then I became a principal of a school in Bradford. Yes.
Oh, wow.
And then I just decided that, you know what, I was talking to somebody one day and said, I love education, but it's time to make a change. And they said, there's this interesting job. Why don't you apply for it? So I did, and that's how I ended up there. But it's so diverse, but I still educate. So
Absolutely, you still have your finger.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I was a school superintendent. I know, that seems amazing, yeah.
You would have been good.
But I feel like through the programs we do here, we're still educating, right?
Yes.
We're still sharing information.
Right.
And that's what's important is I think in today's age that we live in, and probably every age has said the same thing, it seems like we just don't get the information out in a way that people understand. And so that's one of my goals is to share really important, pertinent things. Yeah, we talk about the funny things and that, all that sort of thing, but we've talked about some heavy duty topics here, and this is one of them. Last time we talked about sexual abuse, and we went pretty deep into that. Let's talk about domestic violence as far as how do we define it? I mean, it's kind of nebulous in my mind.
So an easy definition or a short version of the definition of domestic violence is when you have an intimate partner relationship or a family relationship and there is an imbalance of power in that relationship. So a pervasive pattern of abusive behaviors. Domestic violence doesn't always have to be physical. I think that that's something that people don't always understand. You can have emotional and psychological, financial abuse, and many times we see a lot of those other aspects of an abusive relationship more often than the actual physical. And it can be between, a husband and a wife, or it can be between a grandparent and a grandchild. It can be between, ex-partners, dating relationships. So I think also people just think, oh, it's always married people or people who are in a current dating relationship, and that's not necessarily so either.
Okay. I don't bet as a rule, but I'm going to bet that folks that are watching and listening right now know somebody. Sadly, it's pretty prevalent.
Yes.
Okay, because when we get away from the old idea that it's just physical abuse, I mean, that's what domestic violence used to be. I mean, generally when you watch Adam 12, we watch that at home once in a while, and it's usually they're duking it out, but there's a whole lot more. And the one that I've been seeing more and more lately is where there's an addiction, the partner is becoming submissive to the whole situation and becoming a victim of the drug abuse, though they don't use.
That's true. That certainly can happen. That's the same in relationships where one person is struggling with alcohol abuse as well. But we have to be careful to make sure that every person that has struggles with alcoholism or drug addiction isn't necessarily a perpetrator of violence.
Absolutely true.
But they do clearly go hand in hand, and maybe folks who previous to having struggles with addiction issues may not have been abusive and then become abusive because of the struggles and the changes that happen with the drug use.
And where I was going with that is not necessarily a physical abuse of a drug addict,
right,
but the fact that it was the psychological where the non-user was consumed by their partner's use and worry and stress and then getting into the financial aspects, so it just starts to spin out of control. That's what I've been seeing in situations.
Definitely. Right, the strain on a relationship, and also not only with the financial, the emotional, and then if you have children that are involved, and children are exposed to those behaviors as well. So yeah, it's definitely a situation that we've seen in our line of work. It's gotten worse. It's always been there, but it's definitely heightened in the last several years with the, we have an opioid issue in our community, huge. And unfortunately, that's reflective in our numbers because Chautauqua County does have a high rate of both domestic violence and child abuse. And that's unfortunate that I've been around for a long time and thinking that we were going to address these issues. When I was young and naive, right, thought I would come in and make such huge changes very quickly. And now in my wiser years, realizing that it's baby steps and it's going to take an entire society, it's going to take an entire community to make those changes. It's great that we have the ANU Center. It's great that we have Project Crossroads, for example, which is a part of Jamestown Police Department. We have the Chautauqua Center and other agencies that are all working hand in hand to address these issues. We have the Child Advocacy Program. But what we need to do is take a step back, and we need to go to where it all begins, because these agencies, we're intervening after the fact,
Right.
late into the relationship or the situation. It's already very ingrained. And so part of the Domestic Violence Awareness Month in October and talking about prevention is to take a step back, look at broader and wider, and what can a whole entire community do to begin to make those changes. And that's where Linda talked earlier about some of the curriculums that her and Sheridan White have in our agency, and then Prevention Works and other agencies also do outreach and awareness as well. And it's looking at itty bitties. You have to start with the little ones and work your way up, because if we don't explain to our children what good healthy boundaries are in a relationship, and what's okay and what's not okay, and give them self-esteem and the ability to speak up about things that are happening, we're going to continue to see what we're seeing.
Let me throw a question out to Linda. Okay. We've just gone through, oh gosh, it seems like forever, a year and a half now of this pandemic.
Right.
I'm hearing reports, just, casual reports I hear on TV, reading the paper, wherever, through the news sources, that this has it's shot through the roof. There were more shootings than the past year. There's more domestic violence. What's your take on it? Is it true?
Yes, I think it is. I think the frustration of not being able to go to work for some of these people, they're at home, they have to educate their child at home, they don't have the resources to do that. They're trying to work from home, which is very difficult for some people, and it just becomes overwhelming. They become overwhelmed with everything. So yes, I can see that going through the roof. It's frustrating. It's because parents aren't teachers, and as an educator that they were thrust into this without the education behind it.
Absolutely.
So they were thrust into this, okay, now you have to be an IT person because you have to figure out how to get them on the computer.
Good luck on that one.
Yes, and now you have to be a part-time teacher. You have to make sure they're in the classroom with them, and go to work. So now you have to work from home if you're able, and make sure that some of these parents are teaching and they don't have the skills to do that. So it becomes very frustrating on the parent, and sometimes there's nowhere for the frustration to go. So it does go outward into the family, and I can see that just blowing up,
Right.
just really making the problem worse.
And it doesn't seem like there's a light at the end of the tunnel yet, the way I see it. I mean, childcare is like non-existent in many cases because a lot of the centers close, or because of vaccines and things like this. The schools have returned, but if you look across the nation, schools open and then they closed again. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's like up, down, like flipping a switch. So maybe I'm just throwing a cautionary note out there to my viewers and listeners, is that, if you're feeling the pressure of this, you're not alone. And
Right.
What can they do about it? There's your lead in.
I've noticed that schools are offering, if you're feeling overwhelmed with this, that you can reach out to the school and say, I don't know what I'm doing. And the thing for the parent is to be able to say, I don't know how to do this. And it's the up, down, and the not knowing. Are we going to school this week? Are we not going to the school this week? And it's also hard for the schools because they don't know if they're going to be open next week, so the pressure is also on the school, the teachers, the principals, the superintendent. We don't know what we're doing. But I think this year there's more knowledge. We do know that if there are COVID cases in the school or the percentage rises, we're going to shut down,
Okay.
and we're going to go hybrid.
There's a plan now.
So there's a plan now.
And people have sort of felt pieces of that plan probably in the last year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's important too that the schools still have a lot of resources. I know it's really hard to pick up the phone and call a hotline or to call an agency that provides counseling services. It can be tough for us to sometimes have to admit that we need need that extra help. The nice thing in a school is you have all those things built in. We have school counselors, and we have school nurses, and we have teachers and principals who can help lead people to where they need to go for assistance. And it is as simple as making a phone call and saying, I'm struggling at home with the kids. And also we need to remember that it's important for the kiddos, if they're not in school, to have some other social, emotional outlet besides being in the house all the time. And we know that school's a great source for that, and when we can't do that, what are some other safe things? So having resources for families to know what else can they do with their kids to get them out of the house, maybe reduce some of that stress. We certainly don't want to get people in a situation where they're exposed, but there are things to do. And this county is a great example of, if you want to be outdoors, there's a lot of outdoor things to do. There's other agencies and programs, and we have a children and family outreach program through the Salvation Army that can help families with that. You don't have to be a family that's already entrenched in violence or that there's been child abuse, but if there's a risk or families are in need of some support and some help and aren't sure, what can we do? Maybe they have a child that's acting out, or maybe they're not sure the developmental level of, what type of discipline for this age of this child. They can get involved with programs like ours where we are not being judgmental. We want to be a support, we want to be helpful, and we want to focus on the family, that specific family, and what their needs are, because we understand that all families look different and all of them need different needs and different assistance, but there's always strength in families too, and finding those strengths and what is working, because families can be really resilient, children can be very resilient, survivors and victims of domestic violence are very resilient people, so it's finding those strengths and building on those.
Do you ever get to the end of the week and just say, phew, we didn't do so well this week? I mean, to me, it's like grabbing sand. I mean, how much of it can you hold on to at times? I mean, it just seems like it's never ending.
That's true, and so we do have to deal with vicarious trauma and a lot of stress.
Yep.
And
So who do you go to?
So who do we go to? We go to each other to some degree. We have a nice debriefing. We're able to debrief with each other. We have the person above us, the majors, Major Kim and John Merchant, that we can go to, who are pastors. So they always have open ears, and that we can debrief with them. In the past, we've used and accessed other resources like therapists and counselors in the community. So we have a lot of different sources. We have some of our grantors and funding sources give us materials and access to the ability to be able to work through our vicarious trauma and our stressors as well.
I know that my social workers and I would sit after a really tough week, and we would debrief and support each other, because you never know when a certain case comes up and how it's going to affect you, because we all have trigger points too,
Right.
And, let's get a phone number out there right now, early in the show, or a contact or whatever, for any of the programs that we are talking about now and moving forward. So what would be people say, I don't know who to contact, so let's give them somebody to contact.
So if you contact our hotline, we have literally a resource book, and we have access to, I think, every single resource in Chautauqua County. So our hotline workers, even if you're not calling directly about domestic violence or sexual assault, we have those resources easily accessible and can look those up and pass those numbers along to people. So it's 1-800-252-8748 is the, you can call from wherever in the area, and our local number is 661-3897, and that also is the hotline number.
Okay.
And from there, that you can get other resources,
So like a
and
one-stop
access.
that kind of work you
Right.
through.
And then there's 411 as well.
Yes.
That's the local. Also, you can call 411, and they
Okay,
have the
right.
listing of all the
And
resources.
the numbers you just gave, that takes you to the news center?
The News Center hotline.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Okay, back to Linda. Okay, you said you're in the business of education. I saw this, and let's see if you see it today. Generational violence.
From my point of view, as an educator now with the News Center, there are some times when I've walked in and children have disclosed to me that their parent is, I had one student say to me, well, what if my mom isn't my trusted adult?
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't have to be.
Okay.
That's okay. Also, they will disclose, well, my grandfather or a grandparent is abusive to my mom or dad. So I do see it. I see it, and I saw it before I was a teacher also.
Right. And that's where I was going, is
Yeah.
I saw it was cyclical. It
Yeah.
was a thing that's what we do.
Yeah.
We slap the kid behind the head to straighten up, or yank their ear, or take the belt to them. You know what I mean? Or that's just how we treat our women. It sounds Neanderthal.
I saw it quite a bit.
But I mean, but I see this. That's what they're teaching their children. They teach their children, and it's so hard to break that cycle because they truly believe that's how it's supposed to be. And I always got frustrated.
Right. We tried. That's why I like this curriculum, because it starts in preschool and goes all the way up to 6th grade. So even if they're seeing it in their house, it doesn't mean they have to be that way. So it teaches them to respect themselves, respect other people. It's manners, it's skills that they can use daily with each other, with their friends, with their family. And they're not correcting their parent. I never say correct, tell your parent that's wrong, because that's not what I want them to do. I want them to learn that they don't have to be like that. That this curriculum is great because it just teaches them in their language that they know, and it's circular. So it goes pre-K, talks about the same thing as 5th grade does.
Flows
only
through all
yes,
the way through.
Yes,
Okay.
so it talks about the same thing, different. It builds on it. So if I have multiple grades in one day, I could have them all in the same room at the same time because we're talking about the same thing. And that just happened the other day. They just put all the groups together. I said, that's fine, because we're going to talk about the same thing.
Okay.
And it's something they need to learn, to respect themselves, respect each other. It's even in the home, and respect their space. And it's okay. It's okay to have that. Even if bad things are going on around you, if you still have that inner respect for yourself, they can't take that from you.
All right. Let's hold that thought. We have a call.
Okay.
Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Doc. Good morning, Linda and Diana. This is Linda Spalding. I want to thank you, ladies, and congratulate you for the wonderful work that you do and your other workers at the Salvation Army. I'm a strong supporter of the Salvation Army, and I always donate whenever I see anyone around with the situation to help you out. When I worked for many years for Chautauqua Opportunities and for the Chautauqua County Office for the Aging, I would use your services frequently. You do wonderful work.
Wow.
You get to the heart of it immediately. Thank you.
I'm going to leave right now, and you can take over, Linda. How's that?
But I do want to ask a question.
Okay.
I heard on the news a couple of weeks ago, not fake news, a regular news report, the child abusers that are children that have been abused sexually, that have been molested, they rarely become molesters themselves. Is this true? Because I thought this was kind of like a hand-me-down thing, violence and, substance abuse and child abuse. Is this true about children who are molested, that they rarely become molesters themselves?
It is, and I don't, off the top of my head, have the statistics. There, and statistics are statistics wherever
Right.
where you're getting them from. They're going to vary, but this is true. Just because you are a survivor of child sexual assault does not mean that indicates that you're going to be growing up to be a child molester yourself. Now, is there some correlation again? We can always go back to that. Yes, there are some children who are abused that as children then go on to abuse other children. And sometimes when they grow up, they do abuse children or can be in very unhealthy relationships. That's certainly, if you're a survivor of child sexual abuse, that's a huge indicator for you to become a victim again. We see that much, much more than the other way where they become the
Right.
abuser. It's much more typical if you're a survivor of child sexual abuse to grow up and then be in another unhealthy relationship. That goes very much hand in hand. But I think it's really important for people to know, especially if they are a survivor of child sexual abuse, that doesn't have to be, that doesn't mean that you're going to become an abuser as well. What we need to do is do interventions when we know that these children have been abused to help stop if they do, and make it a safe space. So if they are feeling a certain way, or they're unsure, or they think that they might be doing something inappropriate, or they feel like they need to do something that's against another child or a vulnerable person, that they have the skill set and the knowledge and somebody to go to stop it before the cycle does happen. And again, I don't have the numbers off the top of my head. I'd have to look that up. But it is not a huge indicator that you will grow up to be an abuser yourself. I'm not going to say there aren't cases and there isn't some correlation, but it is less than what I think people think in their head, for
Right.
sure.
You're
Well,
not
thank you,
branded.
Diana. May I ask one more question?
Sure.
I don't want to hold you up, but because your show is fascinating. Is it true? I heard this that children, especially girls, who have been molested, very often resort to being involved in pornography.
There is a correlation there as well. Many of our runaways, female runaways, or victims that are trafficked, there is a history of them being abused previous to that. And there are some correlations to if you are a survivor of child sexual abuse, that you may then be trafficked or go into these other, to work in the pornography field or that kind of thing. Yes, there is some correlation there, and certainly, especially with runaways and female and male trafficked victims actually as well, there is a correlation there.
Thank you very much.
Wow.
I'm going to listen to the rest of your show. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, Lynn.
Great questions.
Yeah, heavy,
Thank you.
tough questions. Wow. I hadn't thought about that second one at all. All right, well, she mentioned child trafficking. It seems to be a dirty little secret in Chautauqua County. Okay? I'll throw that out there. I already see you're nodding your head. Linda's looking at me like, yeah, you hit a button here.
Yeah.
There seems to be an underbelly that most people aren't aware of. So how big of an issue is it?
The expert in that, and I think a wonderful person to come on your show, is Kaylee Fazer. So she is the person who runs Safe Harbor in our community, and that's for the minor trafficking program. It's part of our child advocacy program. So she knows the numbers off the top of her head. She's dealing with these kids every single day.
Well, it's more than one.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
What I mean is, when you
it's
hear
in the
that term, you
triple
go,
figures.
no way.
No,
Triple figures?
Triple figures.
More
I
than
think last year they were
oh,
able to identify or to do screenings. It was well over 100 children. I can't
my
remember the
gosh.
number off the top of my head. And then there's further screenings, and if children are disclosing, and how that moves forward looks very different than
Right, the initial.
kids that have the indicators. But yeah, it has been going on for a long time, and I think people confuse that if they think that if somebody is in the sex trade, that then they're automatically that's something they want to do, and not realizing that anyone that's under the age of 18 that is involved in sex labor or sex work that's automatically trafficking for them. They don't, as a minor, they don't have the ability to give the consent to be in that line of work And so I think that that's a misconception and a mythology that people haven't learned about. I also think that, again, you know, that there's a lot of kids that are runaways or intermittent runaways, or they think that trafficking kids look a certain way and don't understand that it could be anybody. The same thing with like the perpetrators of domestic violence.
very
I think there's
subtle.
always this very community idea or these old mythologies of what a perpetrator of domestic violence looks like.
Sleazy guy
And-
in the corner.
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
you know, and that's not true. The same thing goes for rapists. They look like anybody, right? So I think that they feel that way with kids too. And kids can be intact and living in their home and still be trafficked. That's another mythology, that they think it's always runaways, and that's not true either. So definitely, and so those are things that in October that we're going to be talking about and reaching out, and people can learn more about those things. Like I said, Kaylee Fazer, who is running Safe Harbor, she is our resident expert on trafficking, and we have a sheriff, Jacob Staley, who is specifically assigned to those cases and works on those cases, and also labor trafficking. That's another thing that I think that folks in Chautauqua County probably don't believe that's happening, and more than sex trafficking, probably there's more labor trafficking things going on.
And when you say labor trafficking, bringing people from other countries and paying them minimum wages or something?
It could be that. It could look like that.
Indentured
It doesn't have
servant
to
kind of a
be
thing?
just from other countries. It can just be exploiting people for labor purposes. Yeah.
Okay. Wow, this is heavy duty stuff this morning. Let's go back to school. Sixth grade, you walk into the classroom, and sixth grade kids are kind of cool, but they're also like, starting to get chemically crazy in their bodies and stuff. So what would be a typical topic that you might talk about with them?
I definitely talk about boundaries. That's something that we touch on because they're starting, like you said, the hormones are going, and yeah, that's about that time. I'm going to go back to the Think First, Stay Safe curriculums because it starts early, but it states the same thing. You can't come into my personal space without asking me first. So that's one of the biggest things I talk to them about. You have a personal space. Other people have to respect that. That means even, is it okay if I touch your shoulder? Is it okay if I, whisper in your ear? You're in my personal space. I might not like that. So, when you're getting to the hormones like kicking in and they like somebody and, personal space can also be like leaving a note. Or we talk about texting, we talk about the computer footprint.
That's all another matter.
Whatever you put out there stays out there. A lot about that, the digital footprint, they had no idea until I showed them. On the computer, when you go to Google, Google remembers everywhere you've been.
Mm-hmm.
And when you text, it's there. It's not like writing a note in the old days and we could rip it up and throw it away so somebody could see it. I tell them most of them have phones, and I would say to them, be very careful what you say in a text or how it comes, how you present it might not how somebody else takes it.
Yeah.
So
We've all learned that lesson.
Yes.
With emails and texting.
Exactly.
What do
So
you mean by that?
they don't think about some of the things that they say in a text, but I said, would you say that to that person verbally? Would you say that to their face? Would you say that to me? Would you say that? So we talk about that. I said texting is the same way as having a conversation.
Absolutely.
So we talk about, in sixth grade, we talk about that and the personal space, and that means even in texting or on the computer, they still have to remember that you can't invade their personal space. You can't put your personal information out there also, because you don't want somebody else to get your personal information. There are predators online. So I said, if you're putting your information out there, there are people that know how to get it and can see it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want that to happen to you. So a lot of that with the phones, even though that, keep your phone in your book bag, or you don't take your phone to school. They do anyway. But yeah, so I said, if you're gonna text, be careful, because a lot of times I give an example. If you put this in a text and somebody else gets the text, it's not going to the person that you thought it was going to. It's
Imagine that happening. Yeah.
it's misinterpreted, or it's forever there.
Yeah.
And it can get you into trouble, and I don't want that for you.
Yeah.
So. But that's usually where we go with the older kids. It's the digital footprint and the texting.
That's
and
important.
Just, be very careful what you say, because, and like I said, not everybody interprets the information that you're putting out there as you put it out there.
So these programs, what schools are you into?
Well, over the summer, I went to, where did I go?
You were in both the Ys.
Both the Ys. I have to ask Diana because I'm not familiar with the area, so she remembers the schools that I go to. Right now I'm in Westfield. I go to Westfield Elementary every Thursday, and I have pre-kindergarten up to 6th grade. But in the summer I went into the Ys that were doing the LEAP programs. So I went into the different schools for that with the different grades.
So folks that are watching right now, they might say, well, that sounds like a great program. We'd like to have it in our school. So how would administration or teachers get a hold of you? I mean, how's that work? Is there cost? How's that work?
No, it's free. They can call the hotline, and then they just reroute the phone call to my office. And then we just set up times when they would like me to come in, usually after school. I can go in during school also. And I can go over the curriculum with them, specific topics that they would like me to cover. We usually talk about that. If there's something that they see, they know their kids better than I do. So what specifically would you like me to talk about, luring, or would you like me to talk about?
Kind of customize it for
them. Yes, I customize it for the class. And we set up times, and I go in and talk for 45 minutes to an hour. It's a 6-week program. The curriculum is 6 weeks for each grade level. So if they want all 6 weeks, then I do that. Or if they just want to focus in on a specific topic and have me come a couple weeks, I do that.
And the nice thing with Prevention Ed, we also have another person, Sheridan White, who has curriculum, and they've split it up. Sheridan tends to do the middle and high school age groups. Linda's doing the younger group. And then we have Title IX as well, which is in the college. So we're hitting now, I'm really proud of this, after 24 years, we're pre-K to college. And like Linda said, the curriculums overlap. It's the same information presented in a different way, because we know that's how we learn, that's how we get things ingrained. And we know now how important it is that you have to start at the beginning and keep up with reiterating this information up until that you're an adult. So yeah, we've got some great programs going on, and it's awesome.
And speaking of, you have a poster here today.
I do.
We're down to like 2 minutes, so we want to make sure we get everything else that you wanted. So if you want to hold that up for Justin, and he'll zoom in on it for you.
There we go.
All right. So go ahead and speak on it.
Oh, so October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and this year through the coalition we have some things set up. We are doing our Unity Day again as we did last year. It's a little bit different because of COVID again. We want to be COVID safe, so we're doing small outdoor, and we're also encouraging people to do their own little walks and then post it. We're going to be putting it on Facebook. And you can see they're listed. We have Jamestown, the walk at 11:45. It's going to be starting at the Northwest Ice Arena. We've got a Dunkirk at the same time. This is all going to happen on Friday, October 1st. And then throughout the rest of the year, we have other things that I will send to you that we're going to be doing.
Absolutely.
We'll have a silent witness exhibit that's going to go around the county. We also are going to do Purple Day, wear purple every Thursday, and purple represents the colors for domestic violence. So again, posting pictures or videos, we'll put those up on our Facebook pages, spread that throughout the coalition, and get the word out to, understand a little bit more about domestic violence and to take some action. And we have a Healthy Relationships Conference coming up. I'll send that information to you as well, September 30th. There's no educational credits with that, but we're really focusing on the community this year and community action and what you can do at a grassroots level to make change.
Okay, we got like 20 seconds left. Linda, something you want to say to the folks?
No, I mean, just to reach out to the News Center if you have any questions about what Prevention Ed, if you want us to come into your classroom. Sheridan is great. She does the middle school, high school with safe dates. I can go into the colleges. We are starting from the bottom, moving our way up.
All right, I'll echo what Linda Spalding said. You're doing great work, and we appreciate you, and we know this is tough work, but hang in there, and we'll do our best to keep getting the information out there. Thanks for
you.
coming by today.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
We'll have you again and again and again, and whatever it takes. All right, folks, hope you picked up some sobering information here, and if you know someone that needs that information, that phone number, share it with them. We're going to do this all again next week, right here at Access Chautauqua, Spectrum 1301. I'm Doc Hamels, and we'll see you again. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye now.